today we're going to be pressure canning some squash, and in order to do that you have to pick some squash, and to do that you're going to need a bucket and a Chihuahua, which we have both here. The USDA doesn't recommend that you pressure can squash because of the low acid content, so if you try this recipe you're on your own. We're going to try it though because people did it for years. We don't want them to get too large and seedy, so I'm pulling them off a little younger than I might have sometimes. And if you find one with a rotten butt, pull it off and chunk it. The Chihuahua will pursue. That's a little too green. Got a rotten one, Chloe. All right, we got a bucket of squash. This was just kind of a bonus. It really wasn't supposed to be ready yet. Also, you have to be careful of overheating your Chihuahua. So here we go. All right, we got our squash inside and we've got it all cut up, and it made a lot more than I was really prepared for because my canner only does 7 quarts and I'm not a professional. So we're going to do this 7. I may do another batch, or we may just blanch it and freeze it. We overheated the Chihuahua, so we had to bring in a Beagle mix. He's 13 years old, and he's better at this part of the process. And what I'm doing here is I've got the squash put into jars. I'm just doing a raw pack. In other words, I'm not using, I didn't cook this squash. I just cut it up raw, put it in the jars, put it into hot jars, and now I'm putting hot water, or boiling water rather, into the jars. And from there we're going to go into the pressure canner. I actually have a funnel for this, but as a featured blooper, I forgot to put it on there. Now I need to get the air bubbles out. They say if you cold pack these things instead of, or excuse me, if you raw pack them instead of cooking them, blanching them first, they don't get as mushy and they stay pretty and yellow. You notice these, some of these are still a little bit green, but that is better than having them overripe for canning. Just trying to get all the air out. I'm not sure why, but I'm told to do this. They say to use a plastic knife. This is my little Headspace measuring stick, and it works so. And I bring my fluid back up to within 1 inch, which is usually about the bottom of the lip there. Right, and over here, somewhere else on this stove, I've got these here lids that I've had softening up.
Wipe everything off.
Forgot something. I was reminded you have to wipe the tops of these off. Also check it if there's any nicks or anything in this glass, because these are jars, you know, from last year or other years. Don't use them because they won't seal up good. Also, you just want to make sure that it's clean around the lip of all of them. Using these wide mouth jars for vegetables makes it a lot easier. We do have a regular neck jar that's snuck in. Now when you tighten these up, I learned something the hard way making some pickles last year or the year before. If you over tighten these things, especially with these wide mouth jars, you can crinkle the lids on these things while they're processing. So we just want to get them to where they're hand tight. You know, you don't want to get on it too much. Right over here in my pressure canner, I have 3 quarts of boiling water already in it. It'll hold 7. Right on your lid, you know, hold it up to the light. Make sure you can see through there. This is a Presto canner. Always consult your manual with these things. My mother used to be terrified of them. So this kind of pressure canner uses, instead of a dial gauge, it uses weights. Each one of these rings is 5 pounds. And since I want 10 pounds, I'm going to use 2 rings. But we're not ready for that yet. I'm going to wait until I have a steady column of steam, something visible coming out of this hole, and then I'll know it's time to go ahead and put my weights on. And that is it. We'll pick back up when I'm taking the jars out and see what they look like. Alright, we're theoretically done here. I'm checking and my weight's not bouncing and my exhaust port is closed. So I'm going to open. I'm going to open it away from me so that any escaping steam won't scald me. Jars are still bubbling. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. And use the other end. That's not good.
Yeah, leave that on.
Oh, that one. It was when I put pressure on the ring.
Oh.
Alright, I'm going to let them cool, and I'll be checking tomorrow to make sure that the lid's set, that they formed a vacuum, And if they didn't form a vacuum, then we'll put them in the refrigerator and we'll eat them this week. The rest of the squash that I didn't feel like canning tonight, I just went ahead and blanched it, and I put them up in Ziploc bags and we put it in the freezer. Thanks for watching.